Non-Americans of Reddit. What is your genuine reaction to what's going on in America right now? The US always appeared like an older, stronger brother. Now it feels like this brother started using meth. Hey man, we were great athletes in high school though. Man. Remember that game against Japan? Tokes meth pipe. Leans back in driver's seat of IROC Z-Mon. It's like watching Britney Spears go through that shaved head phase. Free Britney. From what I understand, she is literally a indentured servant to her own father via contract. She is under contract that she had to perform to the point that she would perform little venues to fulfill the contract. No wonder she went through shaved head phase. She had zero control of her life. Middle-aged me totally gets Britney's meltdown. Yeah, I feel kinda bad for judging her. I was a kid and didn't even begin to understand what she was going through. In the immortal words of Michael Bluff, well, I don't know what I expected. I may have committed some light treason. I have the worst fucking lawyers. Apostrophe. Bob Loblaw's law blog. There was $250. 000 cash lining the walls of that banana stand. For me, I feel like nothing can surprise me now. I'm just like, of course that's happening now. I feel sorry for the sane people over there. Some of us sane ones are about to lose it. When Jim Gaffigan breaks, you know S is bad. Yeah. He's the canary in the coal mine. Canaries were supposed to be the early warning for danger in coal mines. If this is early, I hate to see what's coming. I feel like I'm Stan from South Park, watching Randy and his mates FS up, unable to do anything except just say dude in a really exasperated voice. I knew the US had jumped the shark when the South Park parody season of Trump's campaign actually had to end with Mr. Garrison being elected. South Park is officially less wild than what is actually going on there. I couldn't agree more. Apparently Tree and Matt don't want to make fun of Trump anymore. Doing satire on Trump is impossible. It's like he's trying to beat any attempt. After watching the trailer for the Showtime miniseries with Brendan Gleeson as Trump, I've decided that, for now at least, he's impossible to depict. You can't do a funny version because he's too surface level. There's nothing to parody because there's no other levels or interpretations to play with. It's all right there. You can't do a serious version either because you necessarily have to remove the most absurd bits, which just makes him actually seem authoritative and strong. The only thing you can really do is recontextualize his words, but that's never worked super well. Kenny Powers is the closest we've gotten to an effective satire of Donald Trump, and that's a decade old. America, am I right, replaced talking about the weather. Everyone is dumbfounded by what's going on. On the other hand, it's sad that we know more about US politics than local politics. People protest for BLM in Berlin, and nobody talks about other things going on elsewhere. This is also true in America. No one knows anything about their local politics. So many if these systemic issues would be better addressed if people focused their energy on their local communities. This is a good answer. There are some departments out there that are great to their citizens. Start with the elected police chief. I'm not even saying not to protest, but protest for change within your city. I don't even pay attention to federal government anymore because change in almost any category comes down to local and state government anyways. It is a silly place. Let's not go there. It's only a model. SHHHH. Actually, this is bit kind of encapsulates us perfectly. Don't look too closely or you'll see all the flaws. And the people who live here pretend they don't exist. Maybe Americans should form an autonomous collective. Sort of an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We could take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting by a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs, but by a 2/3 majority in the case of external affairs. It's a bit mad in it. I don't know why, but I heard that in Ron Wheelie's voice. This unlocked memories for me. Ron has definitely said that. Bloody hell. Are you mental? Confusion. It's so bizarre. How is it possible? Followed by empathy. A ton of empathy. Just so you know, a lot of us really appreciate it. Honestly. I've been working from home since March. I haven't put gas in my car since then. The only times I go out is to go shopping for groceries. I haven't seen my friends and family since then. And this is all because politicians that are out of my control are helping the outspoken minority of the population spread this disease like wildfire. It's nice to know that people outside of America have empathy for people like me who just want this to be over. And this is just for COVID, not all of the other things happening here. Completely unrelated to the Ascredit question. But be wary of gas that has been sitting in the tank for multiple months. After 1 month, gasoline starts going bad, but your car would still run fine. You may just start running into problems with poor fuel mileage. However, after 6 months, you start to run the risk of the gas gumming up your fuel system, which is bad for the engine on the long run. Just rotate the gasoline every few months or dilute the old gas with some new gas. You should be fine. Plus it's important to move it a little more often. Shaking the cobwebs off is not just a cute turn of phrase. Da fuck they doing over there? Cat. Please do not the cat. What happens if I accidentally the whole cat? Accidentally the cat. I'm from Afghanistan. This s don't faze me. From South Africa. I'm also indifferent. We got all this s and more. From India. We got problems too. But everyone still thinks there's s on the streets. European that lived in India and now in the States. When I look back at American coworkers being afraid to have to travel to our India office and this, it's also bad there I chuckle. The streets here have always been dirtier than what I saw in Bangalore. PPL here just don't learn anything about any other country and think every other country has so much less. I mean, I was asked how I coped living in India for 2 years with no toilets in the house. Like WTF, my apartment in Bangalore was nicer than the one I have in San Francisco. Every country has good and bad sides to it, but the arrogance in the US that every other country only has bad sides to them and only the US is free. So many more points here that will always be mind-boggling to me. I live in the arsehole of the world, Bosnia, Balkan, and it seems to me America just hit puberty when compared to other older countries. America is in its teenage years, still on their first constitution. Second, there was an earlier, short-lived constitution called the Articles of Confederation. See, a typical adolescent trait to emphasize you are in fact older. Kinda surprised cause you guys actually have money, can live well, have access to culture, and just don't even bother to. Not really surprised cause my country is even worse, so the fact that people go out of their way to do dumbass is something I'm very aware. Which country? Brazil, our president would drink Trump pee. It's just watered down Putin pee anyway. You've heard of trickle down economics. Now try new trickle down politics. Being in the UK right now kind of feels like being a little boat that has broken down and everyone's too busy being mad at the captain to fix anything. But then you look to the left and there's a big cruise ship burning as it sinks with people fighting on every deck. And the captain's throwing gasoline on everything. And you feel a little bit better about the shitty boat you're in. The argument about the arrangement of the deck furniture has gotten heated. It would not have been necessary for the captain to ram an iceberg to forcibly prove his point that the vessel is unsinkable. Edit. My personal take of the situation in US and UK is that there is an awful lot of parallels between the processes today and what happened in Europe in the 1920s and 1930s and lead to fascism. With the rhetoric Trump uses, I'm pretty sure he and Bannon are reading some Goebbels memoirs as an instruction manual. Of course, the US is far richer, has more technology, and is in absolute terms better off than Germany in 1929. But the degree of polarization and the very open intent to increase it as much as possible is eerie, and given what we know from history, there is basically no bottom to how bad it can become. As some say, history does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. I'm not optimistic that this goes well for US citizens until some fundamental problems are solved, and given, for example, the stagnation in addressing climate change, this is already a serious problem for the whole world. It honestly just looks like a reality show. It's really how you'd expect a country like America to be. What's the biggest impression that's been made on you this year? This year, I think just the fact that there are people like anti-maskers and such. I honestly can't believe this is even a debate. Now let me clarify that I understand that the way the media portrays what's happening in the US is not how the majority of you guys are. I fully acknowledge most of you are reasonable, regular everyday people. From an outsider's perspective, the US just looks weird tbh. The fact that everything is completely polarized. It's either red or blue, anti this or pro this, CNN or Fox News, Trump or Biden, Black Lives Matter or you're racist etc. I don't believe in any god, but if I did I'd pray for you guys every day. You forgot about being pro postal service or anti postal service. I just googled this, and I can't believe it's not a joke. Like holy yes, how is this even possible?